Hello, welcome back. Nigel here with you, Nigel's Modelling Bench, and here we are now, part 7 of the build of this lovely little Alvis FV622 Stalwart, and it's turning into a lovely little model, to be honest. A lot of you would disagree, some of you are just absolutely, hating this model. There is no reason for it. It's yes, it's got a few little issues, but we're modelers, Right, so moving on through the instructions, we've added these rear bits. I asked the question, what is this here? I have been told it's a toolbox for storage and everything. I've been told it's part of the mechanism for the propulsion system, control valves and stuff. And I've also been told it's the air intake for the engine. So let's wait and see what it is. Right, so we've added those. I've got to now add this piece here, B13. I'm going to put the overhead light on for you now we've got rid of the glossy box. So B13 is going to go on the back here. So that's just going to sit in there like that. Okay, and as you can see, it's a little bit sort of springy. Okay, so what we're going to do is flick it off like that. What we're going to do is come along with some tape. And we'll tape it up here. Okay, and I'm going to put the tape onto the floor and then pull the tape over and stick it down to there. That'll be enough to hold it in? No, clearly not. This is the problem with this model, it's absolutely covered in angles, so clamping is really difficult. Oh dear, dear, dear. I think what we're going to have to do is glue it and hold it. Is it not flat? Is that what it is? Maybe if I just give it a little tweak. Haha! Now all it needs is a piece of tape in the middle. So there we go. Right. So now we can cement it using our Mr. Hobby tool cleaner as suggested by he of Moss 6510 fame. Okay, and then we're going to put some cement along the top there. Okay, so that's that glued into place. Make sure we've got plenty of cement around there, because what I'm going to do there, I am going to use sanding to blend in and get rid of that seam line, if it's not supposed to be there, of course. I shouldn't imagine it is. In fact, I think we'll probably have to do some filling along here, probably with some super glue. But anyway, whatever. Okay, so that's the rear end done. When I build my next one, I think I'm going to do the build all this up and then add the suspension before we do any work in the cab or anything, and then we've got it on its wheels, because at the moment we're going to be turning this over and constantly resting on the exhaust and this flimsy little piece here. So there we go. Right, so going over the page, we've done this bit. It's now time to fit the floor, but I can't do that yet because this piece of tape is in the way. So we'll let that dry and then I'll come back. Okay, so done a little bit. I've just been watching the Ted Coningsby channel, the RAF Fairford Departures, and yeah, absolutely amazing. If you want to go back and watch it, the Qatar Airways or the Qatar Air Force C-17. Wow, what a departure! Anyway, so what I've done off camera, I actually clamped these up, let that dry. I've added these bits of plastic. This was a piece of like a, I don't know, a 6-8mm diameter tube, and I just cut a slither off the end of it. So that gives us that section there. These are two little slithers of plastic card just glued on. and then when they're painted over, they'll look like they're molded plastic. So that was what I was talking about. If you remember, you know, just sand it flat and then add the detail after. Don't try and sand around it, you won't get it nice and flat. But as you can see, I've practically sanded all of that away now where the sink mark was. There's only a little bit left there of the original Mr. Surfacer and a little bit there from the sink marks. So yeah, there we go. So moving on in the instructions, you can see here we've got the main floor to go in and this little panel. So we've got the main floor here. Now this, as I said before, Moss told me this is quite a loose fit. So I'm not quite sure how we're going to glue it in, or how you actually fit it in. It might be better, I know you can't. I'm trying to think how you can fit this in, because it has to go underneath. It goes underneath this rib here on the front, and it goes underneath these extensions. There we go, that's how to do it. So underneath there, twist it round, underneath that little lump there, and then it just pops in. But, you can't put it in before these side pieces. So yeah, it's quite a loose fit. I'm not sure where it's supposed to go exactly, so I'm not going to glue it yet. So we've got this panel here going in, and that's going to go with the lip at the front. So that's going to go in. That's a nice little fit. So what we'll do, I'm going to put a couple of drops of my Mr. Hobby Tool Cleaner in here. Just drop this in, and hopefully that will stay wet long enough to grab it. Yeah, there we go, it's grabbed it. So that's cool. Right, so this floor, as you can see, it's got a bit of play in it. I'm not sure if it's supposed to go right back or right forward or what, but we've got a groove here, and I'm assuming this door is going to sit in that groove, like that. So, and that door is going to go up against these vertical members here. So I would think the floor, I guess we could always add a piece of plastic strip here if we need to, but I would think this rear panel goes into that groove, and then you want it to be parallel with the, just notice it's not out of square there, look, that's probably where I clamped it closed to close up that gap. So I think I'll leave that loose for now. We've got this piece here going in C30. On mine, this piece was broken on the sprue, so I've had to glue it back together. It was broken here. So this is going to go on here, so it's going to go, we've got 2 pins on the top. They're going to go into those 2 holes there. That's a lovely fit. And then that piece there, my tweezers, there's a hole for that to go into. That doesn't want to fit. God, that's a nice tight fit. I'm not even going to bother gluing that. Okay, so there we are. So that's gone in there. So I'm going to put a drop of cement from the underside so it won't be seen. That'll be enough to hold that in place. That's amazing that how tight that is. Just put a drop of cement here. I want that to blend in flush so it hides that hole. You see, there's something Airfix have got right here. It's a lovely snug tight fit. Which means any evidence of that pin being there is gone, which is great. Thank you, Airfix, for that. Nice job. Right. So this panel here goes in the back. As you can see, this panel here, when it's up against that rib there, it's slightly proud. So I think the floor needs to go sort of halfway. Because if we have it right forward, then it's out at the bottom. If we go right back, I think that's where it needs to be, sort of halfway along. So what I'm going to do is cement this floor in at the back, like so. I need a couple of pegs here. Okay, and now just double check before that glue dries. That will fit into that groove in the floor, and it sits nice and flush. As you can see, it's nice and flush with the sides. If anything, actually, no, that's absolutely fine. I was going to say, if anything, that floor needs to come forward a touch. It's a lot more controllable when it's got glue on it. It's difficult when it's there we go. Now we've got a nice flush square fit on the front of those boxes. So there we are. And I think what I'll do is just put some in here and let it find its way to get some contact somewhere. Yeah, so there's a lesson for the second one. Here, because I had a little bit of a gap there, I clamped this, and when it's done, it's pulled this edge. You can see this isn't square with that bottom there. So there's two things I could do, is repair it or just ignore it. What I could do is slice that joint away and let it open up and square up, and then deal with that afterwards, because that is hidden. So let's see if I can get away with that. So we'll put some cement in there. Okay. And then we may be able to push that apart. It's doubtful. I'm not too worried about making a bit of a mess, because there's a pipe going in here that covers it. This is how you can make a joint come open again. I do need to be careful, because if that knife goes all of a sudden, I could end up cutting my hand. There we go, it's going now. Once you get the blade all the way through in one area, it will just generally just go. I'm making work for myself here with cleaning up this corner afterwards, but I would rather not have that gap at the bottom. It looks awful. Here we go, it's going now. You see it's starting to split all the way up. So much for this plastic not bonding very well. It's like bloody concrete. Really nice. Okay, so I just want that bottom to come out square. So I should be able to get tweezers in there and just pull it over. There we go. We're pretty much square now on the bottom. The thing is, it's gluing itself back together as well. I'm only going to go up to that cut out. There we go. Once that's dry, at the moment it's a bit of a gooey mess. You can see there's bits here that will just flick off, but I'm not going to try and repair it. But what I am going to do is stick this knife in here so that it doesn't glue itself back together, just like so. And then I'm going to grab some plastic card, a box of plastic scrap. So there's a piece of 10 thou, I think that's all we need. Okay, how long do we want it? We want it forever. Cut this off. Is that the right length? No, it's too short. So what we'll do is this time we'll cut it in situ. We're not after extreme accuracy here, we just want it somewhere handy. So we can get the knife in there again, move my hand from behind, get the knife in there again, slit this open all the way up, just like so, because as you can see it glues itself back together. Alright, and we'll get this plastic card into that gap, and we'll try and get it into that gap all the way up. So I can get the knife in there. I'm going to do this off camera, guys, because this must be like watching bloody paint dry. Okay, so that's all dried now. I've left that for a couple of hours to dry, and you can see that plastic card's gone hard. It's got a bit of a sort of tapering in a bit at the top, but I'm not going to worry about that because when we put the side on, it's going to cover it up anyway. So that's going to look absolutely fine. In fact, you can actually see, if I put that like that, I can see a taper in it. So I may actually bring the top over as well. Or what I might do is just carve it down. Just sort of pare it down so that you don't notice it so much. Just like so. Just take a slither off it. Just like so. And then when you put this on the right way up, it kind of looks parallel. Okay, so there we go. Right, so bear that in mind when you're building yours. Don't go clamping these boxes to get them to pull together because you lose the squareness on there. And what I've done is put a piece of 10 thou plastic card in there. When I build my next one, I may just put that in there anyway. See how it goes. So I did mention these, didn't I? Yeah, I did. It's hard to remember because I've been out in the garage. I've been making Fiat 131 videos for my Fiat 131 channel, and it's hard to remember what I've said earlier. So looking at the instructions, the next thing to do is put this rear bulkhead in. Now, as I said earlier, there's a slot in the floor that this is going to go in. I'm not worried about these sink marks in here because these doors get dented about anyway. So that's going to go in like that. Okay. And we want to make sure it's parallel on the sides here. So what I'm going to do is come in. Today is Monday. I'm not sure if you'll see this video in time. And again, I may have mentioned this earlier, but it's Monday, so that means it's Airfix and Chill Day over on Moss 6510 channel on YouTube. And you may see me there later on. It starts at 8 PM. You may see me there, you may not, depends how I feel. Sometimes I just can't be bothered. Alright, so just put some cement in there, give that a good key on the bottom, and then at the top here it's just got a couple of small contact areas where it's touching. I must say this Mr. Hobby tool cleaner and this plastic work together so well, so thank you for that, Moss. It was Moss 6510 that told me about that, and it just works so well. So much better than the extra thin or the extra thin quick setting. It's brilliant. I've tried it before on other plastics. I can't remember what it was. It might have been Hong Kong Models. Hong Kong Models plastic is the other end of this. It's quite hard. So it could be that the softer the plastic, the better the tool cleaner works. Who knows? So that's glued in there like that. And I've got a feeling this is a solid bulkhead. It doesn't move because there's all sorts of stuff in here, but they have got a tailgate that comes back. Okay, so there we are. So that's in. I'm just looking at it, making sure. I want to make sure that it's square here. Make sure those sides are square. You can see how quick this works. I can hardly move that. It's only been glued for a couple of minutes. There we go. Right. I'm just going to run some more cement in there because I did a bit of a stringy there. When I pulled it, it strung apart. Okay, there we go. Right. So that's that in. Now then, as I said, if I was building one, well, I will be building one of these again. What I'll do is I will build up the chassis. Okay, so the two side panels, the floor, the back and the front, and then do the suspension, because now what we've got to do is do all this work on it upside down, and that is going to get broken off, I'm sure of it. So what we could actually do is, where's my, here it is, I have my folded cardboard block. Oh, look at that. It fits absolutely perfectly. I have this folded cardboard block. I'll use this as a paint stand, as you will know if you follow my channel. That sits on there beautifully, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to sit it on there, and that way we won't go breaking those bits off on the back. Actually, I want to make sure that glue's dry, don't I? Because I don't want it to wick out onto there and make a mess everywhere. Okay, that's fine. Right, so coming over the page, we are going to make a start on the suspension. Now here, I am going to break ranks and completely go away from the build sequence. Reason is, I'm going to explain the method in my madness. We're going to fit this here. That really doesn't determine where the wheels sit, okay? It's just like a detail. It's the upper wishbones, because it's a double wishbone suspension system, but with torsion bars, very much like a Maz wrecker truck or whatever. And then you've got these shock absorbers which are going to slide in. So they're telling you, slide them up through here, don't glue them, then glue them, and that's how they should look when they're done. So what we're going to do is probably cement this in because it's a very positive fit. And then we've got to build up these axles, which I've done that, okay? And I've fitted one of these here. I've fitted in, and they tell us not to glue it so that it can swivel, but I don't know why. They tell us not to cement it. I don't know why. What I'm tempted to do is actually glue the disc brakes. If you look here, what we do is we go over the page, and we're adding all these little bits and pieces of greeblies and stuff, and then we're going to do all the same again on the other side, okay? And then we're going to add these pieces in here, which are the lower wishbones, and then we're going to add the disc brakes. Now what I'm tempted to do, we'll see if it works, is add the disc brakes to these, okay? And then when this wishbone, this lower, well, I'll cover it when I come to it, probably in the next video now. But we'll get there when I get there. What I want to do, I want to make sure that all 6 wheels are touching the ground. So I've assembled these. They're easy to identify because you've got 40, 41, 42. This one, as you can see, has 2 blocks on it. There's a square block on either side. Okay, so that one there is that one. And then this one here has no blocks, so it's that one. And this one here has 1 block, so it's that one. So they're really easy to identify. These are all the same. You can see they're all part D1. So these have been cut off the sprue, cleaned up and everything. So what we're going to do with this, we're going to make sure it's the right way up. So this is 41 with the 1 block. So we're going to make sure that's that way up with the drive shaft facing upwards and the beak on the end pointing down. Okay, so the beak on the end is pointing down. And then with this one, we're going to make sure we've got the swivel here is at the bottom. You can see the top has just got a pin and the bottom has a swivel. Okay, so we're going to put that way, and then we're going to press this in, and what we're going to do is push those 2 pins in, and it's got a clip. It's like a bloody part work, this. It's got a clip in like that. Right, and you can see when it's in. Alright, that's going nowhere. And then we're going to do the same on the other side. Make sure it's the right way up. Got the two blocks at the top. We've got the swivel at the bottom. Okay, and we're going to push this in the right way, Nige. We're going to push this in just like so, and that will just clip in. It's not a very difficult, it's not a positive sort of snap fit. They're just telling you to click it in. I can't understand why they're telling you not to glue it. I guess it's so that the glue doesn't set. I guess once it's all in place and it's all in there, you can glue it then, because it doesn't have working steering or anything. Okay, so they're showing you here how to fit it. Now what I intend to do is, so we're going to be working on this side first of all. So this is going to go in like that, and we've got very positive location. It's going to go in like that actually. We've got 1, 2, 3 pegs, and it's very, very positive. It's really nice fit. It goes in beautifully. Okay, so we can decide to glue that or not. It's up to you, but when you put it in, these shock absorbers will hold it in place. So what they're telling us here, we've got 3 lots of shock absorbers which are easily identifiable. We've got these 4 here close together. Okay, and you can see that they're odd. You can see you've got 1, 2 which are low down, and then you've got another one there, the odd one out. You can see this one here has this collar which is there, and that goes rearmost. Okay, so this one is going to go up into there like that, and then drop down into that groove in there. Okay, and then that is going to be glued in place. Now what we can do here, we need to make sure we've got this right around. Yes, it is the right around, because we've got the one with the collar to the rear. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is just put a drop of cement in here, just enough to hold it there like that, and then I'm going to put this in. I'm determined to break that thing off on the back, aren't I? I'm going to put this in this way round. I keep going to put it in the wrong way round. And that's going to drop down over those shock absorbers. And that hole's going to engage in the chassis, just like so. Okay. Now I haven't glued this, as you can see, I haven't glued it in place. Then the next one is just 3. Well, they're symmetrical, but we can see here that we've got like you can see there's like a ramp on the base. It's fatter on the inside than it is on the outside. Can you see that? When you look at it end on, it's fatter there than it is there. So that's going to go up through here. So the front 2 are going up through, just like so. And that's going to pop into that groove in there. So we'll put some cement in there. As I say, I don't think any of this will determine whether the wheels sit on the ground or not. I'm going to grab a cocktail stick actually as a tool, just to push that in and get it nice and flat on the floor. I'm going to put some more cement in that one, because remember, we only put a small drop in that one. And then here we've got the 4, and they're symmetrical, and with these the 2 are going to go, the 2 middle ones are going to go up through. So again, we want to make sure the thick wedges at the back, you can see it there clearly, the thicker of the edges at the back, that's going to go up through there, and that's going to go in like that. Hang on a minute, I'm going to get that in a better position before I start putting glue on it. There we go, that's better. Whoops, it wants to fall out. I'll put my thumb there, and then once we get some cement on there, that'll be locked in place, never to be moved. Okay, so push it down so it's nice and flat, and then if we look along, we should be able to see, if we look along the length, you can see that they're pretty much parallel. So that's all good. Okay, what are we on now? 33, so we've been about half an hour. So I'm going to leave this to set. Alright, now I'm not particularly worried about the position of these shock absorbers, because I don't think they do anything. I'm quite prepared to scrap this kit. Here, I've moved that shock absorber mount outlet. that needs to go back into there. So make sure they're firmly seated. You've got these little cutouts here. Make sure they're firmly back in there. All right, and make sure they're the right way round with the thicker side at the back. All right. You see now this one's a bit weird because it's got that one's just parallel, right? And you can see that these are obviously wedge shaped because you've got the angle on here and that's flat. So it kind of looks like it's the wrong way around, but it's not. As I say, you've got that collar on that one there. You can see it here. You've got that collar on that third one there, and that goes rearward, so that collar's there, as you can see. All right. So there we go. So I'm going to leave that to dry, and I'm going to call it a day. And what I'm going to do now is, instead of adding the hubs like this, or gluing them in place or anything, what I'm going to do is do the other side. Okay, and then you can see we've got a movement here. All right, so we'll be able to have movement there. We'll have movement. What I'm intending to do is fit this all up together and then put these in after. Okay, so you can follow along with me or don't follow along with me and wait to see if it works. But I can assure you it will be done in the next couple of days at tops. So I'll see you soon. Thank you for watching. This has been part 8. I think I might have called it part 7 at the beginning. This has been part 8. So I will see you hopefully tomorrow for part 9. And I need to get my beautiful Air Scare bottom Port Defiant back on the bench, don't I? The thing is, this is so enjoyable, just gluing this together and not worrying about detail painting and stuff like that. So especially this warm weather. Anyway, I'll see you soon. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.